Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
What's up, good people? Your girl is back. I'm Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes, and as you know, the host of What Are You Sporting About podcast. But look, if you have not yet subscribed to this platform, I need you to go to your favorite podcasting platform, click that button to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I have a guest for you guys today who I haven't seen or spoken to in quite a long time in terms of like really talking. I haven't talked to this gentleman in a long time, Mr. Jaydian Miller. We attended a Power 5 school together. Well, I think the Bulls is part of Power 5, USF. We were both on the same track team. So I'm super excited to share him with you guys today. Jaydian, say what's up to the people.
Good afternoon, good people. I'm so happy to be here. Good afternoon to all the listeners, to all the viewers. You know, I'm brand new to the podcast, and my friend, I'm so proud of you. Keep up the great work. You're making a huge difference in the lives of so many young people across this country, in the United States, and even in the Bahamas. You don't know yet, but it's going to happen, okay? But keep up the great work. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad to have you. So look, for everybody who don't know who Jaydian is, and I know you can hear the accent. Jaydian, actually in college, Jaydian, you had a little accent, but it wasn't as strong. But I think now that you return to your roots,
yes,
the accent has come back.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's the same for like everybody. When I leave up north and I go down to the south, I feel like I get my southern accent back, like big time. But anyway, so yeah, listen, Jaydian is the owner of J. Miller & Company. His organization has sports-related services such as sports performance training and highlight video and scouting services. He's also known as Coach J and holds certifications as USA Track and Field Coach, USA Basketball Gold Coach, ISSA Strength and Conditioning Specialist, and Weight Management Specialist. He has produced track and field medalists at the FHSAA High School, State, and USATF Junior Olympic Championships, along with athletes who have performed at a high level in basketball and football. He's also been able to assist over 40 athletes with earning athletic and or academic scholarships to play the sport that they love at the next level while also earning a college degree. And we know that education is super important. His organization's goal is to build the legacies of individuals, communities, and businesses for present and future generations. And Jaydian, you are definitely doing that with your organization. I see you all the time spreading the news about the athletes who are coming into your fold, who you are able to mentor and guide on this process. But you yourself were an international athlete at one point in time. So I love that you've returned to your roots and are helping the next generation to forge their own paths that may look very similar to yours, but might take different shape now that we're in this NIL phase. But I want to jump off and talk about your organization because you've been doing some amazing things. So tell us a little bit more about it. I know I just like spit off your bio, but I definitely want to go deeper and learn more about how you've been able to support these students.
Well, thank you so much for that awesome intro. I love the energy behind it. So yes, sports performance training. That was a huge part of helping athletes to get to the next level, right? And, you know, being athletes in college, formally, you know how important it was to get that training, the proper training, not just training, but the training is going to help you to advance. So right now, I actually just became an ISSA certified personal trainer. That is something new. I initially didn't think about doing that, but a professional told me, Jaydian, if you want to be respected in the industry, you have to get that certification. So now, as you can see, I'm trying to level up, as they would say. So the training has been pivotal. I've been able to assist many basketball, football, track and field, other athletes to reach the next level, to be able to perform, whether it's at the FHSAA level, whether it's, you know, at football and other areas. Highlighting the scouting, honestly, has been my most successful part of the company because everybody wants to go to college. Everybody wants a scholarship, right? But how do we get there? And having a proper highlight video, as you would know, because every highlight video is not college ready. So I call them a college ready highlight video, putting in those particular moments that are going to capture the coach's attention. And as you know, coaches don't have much time. So they're not going to watch a 5-minute highlight video and a 10-minute highlight. You need a little snippet between 2 and 3 minutes. Give them those key moments in those games so they can say, hey, I like this athlete. I want to talk to them a bit more. And honestly, it's been great. It's been a great experience, and the greatest feeling that you could have is to help people. When you hear a young man, like for example, I have a young man right now, my first baseball athlete, he got a scholarship to a JUCO D2 in Michigan. And he was just sitting home, no opportunities, no scholarships, nobody calling. And within 2 weeks, now his life has changed. So there's power behind the program, and I just love helping people. So those are the two main programs I want to talk about today, because the training aspect is key. Plus the highlight and scouting aspect is key. And those are married together to help those athletes get to the next level.
That's good. And I think that's a good background too for our conversation going forward, because and you say the student is in Michigan, all right? You attended college in Florida.
Yes.
So you're helping student athletes to get either an athletic scholarship, academic, or combination of the two. But let's focus on the student athletes for a second. Because there are certain rules that are in place when you are a international athlete. So how are you able to navigate those rules, and how are you helping those students to navigate those rules as well, while also trying to maintain their eligibility as a foreign athlete?
Well, thank you so much for that question. And what a lot of individuals don't realize is that when we come to the United States as international athletes, we're on a visa. So it's called an F1 visa. That's a student visa. And there's certain limitations to it. So for example, when we go to our visa appointment with USCIS, they will take the information from us, which school we're going to. They'll create the school will create an I-20 for us, and we'll take that to our interview. And let's say if you're going to have 4 years at that school, you have to graduate in that 4 years. They may give you an extra year in case, like for me, I had an extra year because I had struggles in math. So I had to do an extra year. But what happens is, after that term is done, you either can do one of two things. You can either do a year of optional practical training, which is called OPT, that you get to go into the industry that you want to be in. You get to experience that for a year. And after that, a company can decide to hire you or not. Now, here's the thing. If they don't hire you, you're going to have to go back home. And that's a challenge for many of us. We're like, oh, we love America. We love the schooling. We got an education. We want to stay. But how could we stay? So it's one of those things where, even for example, when you think about being on academic probation, because many times athletes, you may have a challenge in certain classes. It's really a concern because you don't want to lose your scholarship. And because you know that you're on a temporary visa, anything can happen. It's not like you have a permanent residence card or you're a citizen where, okay, no matter what happens, I'm still here. I'm not going back home. I'm ready my country, my home country. So it's a lot of pressure. Even for me as an athlete, I had to stay at the top level. I had to continue doing well every year. I had to be careful with getting injured. I had to be careful with, let's say, playing basketball on the side and getting hurt, because one injury could send me back home. So international athletes have a lot of pressure on them. It's a lot of weight to perform, because any slip up, any mistake, any bad decision could change your entire life. So, but navigating through all of that, you have to really be intentional and deliberate. So each day you go to the weight room, you're careful how you lift weights. When you go to train, you're careful how you compete or how you train. When you go in the classroom, you have to really talk to your teachers, get to know them, because all those things matter. All those things matter.
Oof, that's a lot. Like I didn't even know that you guys are under that kind of intense pressure. Like I was under my own pressure of wanting to do well and excel, right? But not even knowing. I think that's so important. You don't know what pressures your peers are also under, and I think it's so important to have humility for other people, because you just don't know. What you could think is someone acting out or doing something could literally be the difference between their livelihood. So we are a few years in now with name, image, and likeness for the collegiate level in the States, and there are a lot of conversations that are taking place and a lot that are not around foreign athletes. You're scouting proper athletes who can rise up to the level of collegiate athletics in the States, who can also perform academically to maintain their eligibility and scholarship. But then there's this concern of, do NIL in America for American athletes also create an inequitable, issue for other Black and brown student athletes from different countries? So has this come up with your students as you're scouting them? Are they asking you questions around name, image, and likeness? How are they able, or how are you guys trying to really navigate these rules and the issues so that NIL doesn't become the Pandora's box for your international students?
Well, to answer your question, I have not had any conversations regarding NIL with any of my athletes, but I can tell you that my athletes mainly, if you think about 40 athletes, at least 38 of them are US athletes. So I have about two Bahamians right now that I have under my banner, but all of them have either went to NCAA D1, D2, D3, USCAA, CCCAA, JUCO, NAIA, etc. So as you know, when it comes to NIL, we focus on NCAA, right? And I have two athletes right now. I don't want to get too particular, but two athletes right now, one for basketball who's an NCAA D2 institution, and one football athlete who's an NCAA D1 institution. And they both have NIL deals. And they're Americans. But I also thought about how can international athletes benefit from this? And here's what I think the problem is. The problem is, number one, because the visa that we're on, right? There's certain restrictions for the F1. So with the F1, you can work on campus. There was a time when I was at school at USF and I was able to work in the library, but I was not able to work off campus, right? And then you have the optional practical training. Then you even have some curricular training that you could do regarding your degree. So that's a restriction. And there's not much leeway to have two visas at the same time, right? There's also an O visa that focuses on athletes with extraordinary ability. And there's a P visa that focuses on persons who signs with a professional team and they're able to possibly get that visa. So USCIS right now is not giving clear directives in terms of how that would work. But I've seen situations where I've read articles online where some athletes have received it, like maybe one or two have received it, but they had to use either O visa or P visa. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge. In my personal view, I feel that international athletes, regardless of who you are, international, American, doesn't matter. You should be able to have the opportunity to benefit from it because it's your name, image, and likeness. It's you. It's you, and I truly believe that in the future, things will start to change and it would expand for us. And it's just a work in progress. It's a work in progress.
No, you're absolutely correct. It is a work in progress. And I think some of the issues are, especially if you are here on a visa, like you said, you can't, trying to have multiple visas at one time, what does that look like legally? And I'm also, now don't get me wrong, because I am not an international attorney. I'm not an immigration attorney. Let's say that I'm not an immigration attorney. Okay. So in terms of the rules, it's over my head, right? But I understand that if a student athlete, a foreign student athlete, is possibly monetizing, that could impact the scholarship in some way in terms of what they are earning. And if you're monetizing in America, do you have the proper visa to technically work in America, right? So I really do hope that we're able to to find some equitable solution around that issue. But I haven't seen anything come up yet, but I think it'll have to be addressed at the federal level since we're talking about immigration issues for sure. But I want to pop back around to the scouting program that you have, because you've become Coach J. And I want to know from you, like, what are some things that you're seeing in yourself now as a coach that you probably didn't even think you would embody from years ago? Like, I never even thought that you would be a coach, which is so cool because our paths like literally take us on the journey that we need to be on to impact the lives that we need to impact. But what are some things that you're seeing inside of yourself now and that you didn't even think would be, but it's necessary in the role that you have?
That is an excellent question. And guess what? I never wanted to be a coach. Let me tell you how this whole thing materialized. In 2017, I was looking for a job, right? And I posted my resume on Indeed.com. And a coach had emailed me and said, "Hey, I want to bring you on as a coach." And I'm thinking, I never coached no one in my life. I don't know number coaching. So he brought me on board, and he said, I'm gonna pay for your USA track and field certification. So I went into the class and took the 2 or 3 days of training and got my certificate. And after that, I said to myself, okay, I was okay in college, right? I did all right. And I said, can I help athletes to get there and even better than me, right? Because, sometimes, let's say, for example, you may have an athlete who may have been really good in college, but they may not have the skills to help another athlete to be just as good as them, right? And honestly, when I started training my first 6 athletes, and I saw how they had PRs like 2 seconds faster after like a month, and the long jump more than a foot, I said, man, I can actually do this. I can do this. And going on to be USATF medalist, and they're saying, "Coach, I've never ran this fast in my life. I've never jumped this far in my life in one summer." And I'm saying, God, maybe this is my calling. Maybe I can do this. And trust me, from 2017 to now, it's been a journey. It's just been a blessing. And even now, I have an athlete who, she's in Florida. I call her a virtual training athlete. I train her over the phone via video, Instagram video, right? How does that work? And she won the high jump state championship last year and this year. And I've had to find a way to navigate, with the athlete being in Florida and me being in the Bahamas. How do I show them what to do over the phone? And it's been working. And I'm so blessed. And I've decided to add to my portfolio. So as you'd mentioned, strength and conditioning specialist, weight management specialist, now certified personal trainer. I'm going to finish my nutritionist certification. So I'm taking this to the next level, my friend. It's not just touching the surface with track and now basketball. So I'm just so blessed and grateful that I can use my skills, use my knowledge, use my added knowledge from those certifications now to be a better coach, better person, be able to mentor my athletes, and now teach them, here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do. Here's why you do this, here's why you don't do this. Don't make the same mistakes I made, So, because, when you think about it, in high school, we may have not gotten that high quality training that we probably could have gotten. Our coaches may have been trying to figure it out. But now that we have the experience as athletes ourselves, we can give more to them. And we can talk from experience, So I'm just so grateful that I'm able to make a difference in the lives of athletes and be able to help them to reach the level that they want to get to. And think about it. Many of our young people that we work with never thought they would go to college, never thought that they had a chance, never had someone believe in them enough. May have been the first member of their family to go to college. So it truly changes the trajectory of their life, changes the trajectory of other generations behind them. And even they have the motivation now to say, hey, I can do this. And I want my children to do this. So it's been a blessing, my friend. It's been a blessing.
That is awesome. Kind of staying on that same topic, though, because we all have to be coached by somebody. So I want you to kind of date back into your memory box about your coaches. From what period of your life do you think you had the best coach or even the worst coach? Because sometimes these bad coaches will teach you something, right? But what coach do you think has had, you don't have to name them, but what coach do you think has had the biggest impact on your life that is now kind of those lessons are seeping to the surface as you really blossom into your own coaching type of personality?
But can I mention 2 coaches?
Yes.
Okay. So my high school coach, first of all, Coach Bryant. And I don't know if you know this, but I came to the U.S. to finish my last 2 years of high school, 11th and 12th grade. My parents sent me to Miami, Florida. And I met Coach Bryant, and he said, okay, you want to run track? I said, yes, sir. My dad was a quarter miler. He was a 400-meter runner. He was an Olympian. So my coach is thinking, hey, maybe this is in your blood. So when he saw me run around the track, he said, no, buddy, you're going to be the 400-meter runner. You look like a jumper. And he put me on the runway, and he says, just jump. So I said, just jump. I jumped 23 feet. He said, you're going to be a jumper. And he put together programs for me. He trained me. And the one thing that helped me to get to the next level and helped me to push with God's help, is my tenacity, because I knew that any given time I could be sent back to the Bahamas. So I went out there and I competed at a high level. I would go there and tell guys, listen, it's over. Just pack up, go home, it's over. And that's the kind of mentality I had. And I became a state champion in high school. I became a high school All-American. And in my senior year, I was a double bronze medalist in long and triple jump, got to USF. And guess what? Coach Greg Thiel didn't even have a full scholarship offer for me yet. And it kind of came together after us meeting. So, and Coach Greg really impacted my life, because at the college level, as you know, we have challenges, right? You're now an adult, and adulting ain't easy. Adulting ain't easy. You know that, right? Even now at our age, it's not easy, especially being parents. It's not easy, and Coach Greg helped to navigate me, as a father through that path. And I had some challenges in college, but him being there, him encouraging me and inspiring me even now, has truly been a blessing to my life. So those two coaches, I would say, were like my fathers. They were my fathers, my father away from home. And I'm so grateful for them.
I love how you chose your high school and your college athlete, because it's the exact same thing for me. My high school and my college athlete were definitely like fathers. And I can say that they're still like fathers for me, because they are the men that were unfortunately the most consistent in my life that I could go to, you know what I'm saying? And like really have or ask really tough questions. And especially once I got to college and now I'm a woman and I'm dealing with different issues, like the first person who I felt at home with that I could really open up or say whatever I need to say or ask whatever question I need to ask was my coach. And so coaches have this very unique place in a student athlete's life, sacred, I would say, because they're almost like adoptive parents, right? We choose them, because we can walk away at any time, but we choose them. It doesn't matter whether your coach was assigned to you. That child, that adult chooses their coach. And so it's such a blessing to be in any position as a coach, whether it's like business coach, personal life coach, athletic coach, because that role is just so important. So every time I meet someone who is carrying on that title of coach in a way that is authentic and respectful, that has the ideal and mission of really creating impact from that, I have so much respect for it. So thank you for what you are doing, because we need more young people who are under the tutelage and care of people who give a damn.
True. And guess what? To your point, sometimes you may go into it saying you're a coach, but you end up being a coach. You end up being daddy. You end up being a mentor. You end up being a friend. It's like, I'm everything now. They call you and say, Coach, can you give me advice on this? Can you give me advice about this? My girlfriend, my boyfriend. I'm like, man, I mean, I'm everything to the athlete, but that's how they view us. And like you say, some of us have more of an impact than their own parents, right? So, and we're consistent. So it's true. This thing ends up evolving into like, wow, I look to you for many things, So it's a blessing that you have athletes who believe in you enough to confide in you and see you as more than just a coach, but see you as a friend, father, mentor, and many other roles.
Exactly. Oh, such a powerful conversation. So look, as we draw to a close, any parting advice, wisdom, motivation, whatever, for student athletes, no matter where they are, no matter where they're located across the globe, anything that you want to share with them to help them take the next step, whatever that mean and look like for them?
So I want to say that every athlete all over the world, not just in the United States, not just in the Bahamas, no matter where you are, you have the potential to be great. I take pride in working with the underdogs, those athletes who people write off and say, oh, they're not that good, or they don't have the talent. And I've been able to help those athletes, and they just want someone to believe in them. They just want a chance. And my program reaches from Florida all the way over to Oregon, all the way over to California, and, reaching out to over 2,000, 3,000 coaches. I hit the entire country. to see who wants them, who sees the potential in them. So I would tell any athlete, if you're looking to get a scholarship, if you don't have the coaches reaching out to you, if your coach is not working for you, you can also contact me, because you need someone that's going to fight for you, not just say, oh, I talked to one coach. Hey, what about those other thousands of coaches all over the country? What about all of those different divisions? It doesn't have to be NCAA. You may go NAIA. You may go JUCO. It doesn't matter where you go. Get the opportunity and work on it and take advantage of it. And as you know, you have some athletes who may have went to JUCO route 2 years. And where are they now? NCAA D1? Now they're professional athletes. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. So I would encourage you, get with a program that's going to help you, get with a program that is proven, and all the opportunities that you're looking for, you'll receive with God's blessing and grace. And keep up the great work.
That's real. Y'all heard it. That is real. It is not where you start from. I think too, in this newer generation, social media is everywhere. People make it look easy, but folks don't realize the people who we call the greats, it took years. It took 15, 20, 30 years. Like some people that's coming to the scene now that are in their 40s, it took them a minute to get there, but they stay consistent and true to their purpose, right? They started from a place that may not have been half of where most of us are at this point in our lives. So that's great advice for all of us to sink our teeth into. And it's great advice for me to continue to remember, because it is not where you start from. It is definitely how you finish. And if you want to finish great, you got to stay true to the mission, stay true to the call. I am Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes, and it's always my pleasure to educate, support, and motivate you to your next level. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success, because we're all sporting about something.